Wow, if I ever needed a reminder about just how powerful live events can be, I got it this past weekend at Powerhouse Women 2019. It was just so fun to be in that room with all of you. And it left me feeling like people are hungry for in-person connection more than ever before, which is why it is no surprise that so many of you are feeling called to create live experiences like the ones that have changed your life. Things like workshops, events, retreats, or masterminds of your very own. And I just want you to remember that the call you're feeling to create those things was given to you for a reason. And it's time to get into action because this is so not about you. It is 100% about who you will serve. And my guest today is the perfect person to help me share this conversation. She is the one and only Lori Harder, best-selling author, Forbes Top 18 podcast host, and founder of the Bliss Project, which is an 8-year running women's personal development weekend with over 500 women in attendance every single year. We're going to talk about what to do when you are in a season of restlessness and why investing in yourself is the key to making exponential shifts in your business and your life. We're also going to talk about why Lori and I are teaming up to create a program together to empower the next generation of women who will lead transformational events like the ones that we host. Thank you for tuning in today. I couldn't be more excited to share my guest with you all. So many of you know and love her. She spoke at Powerhouse Women 2019, and she's been such an inspiration in my life, and I know for so many of you as well. So Lori, thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. You guys, Lindsey and I just spent 2 hours together chatting, so now we're just recording it.
Basically, you're going to get a recap of the last 2-hour conversation and so many things that we cannot wait to share with all of you. But I don't want to just assume that everyone knows who you are and just what an incredible human being you are. So here's how I'll ask you this. How would you answer the question, who are you for the world?
Oh my God. That's a really loaded question.
We just went. You're welcome, folks.
Yeah, I was like, hold on. Who am I? Who am I for the world? Who I would like to be or how I hope to show up is walking permission for people, because I know that my work every single day is to be as authentic as possible and give myself permission, even if that means it's going to be painful, even if that means people aren't going to like me, even if that means I'm going to go through some really tough times with my family. And I know that by showing up for me and my truth and my path and my commitment, that is going to create an example and a ripple in the world. And it's proven to be true that if you walk your path and I walk my path, that it's going to create and forge your purpose.
Yeah, I know. Way to throw a curveball right out the gate. I knew you could handle it, but I really, my intention for our conversation today is to get to share a little bit different part of your story that people may not know, because you have had a lot of success, you and your husband both. You and I connected, our worlds collided through network marketing and really kind of through fitness as well. And I watched you forge a path that I mimicked in a lot of ways, where you were in fitness, really known for fitness, for a lot of accomplishments there, and then had this point where you decided to pivot. And we're going to get into your event, the Bliss Project, your book, which is incredible and is literally about building your girl gang, which we talk about all the time on this show. But you've had this amazing journey. And what I love and what I've been most impacted by is exactly what you shared. You're always willing to share what you're experiencing throughout every single part of that journey, the highs, the lows, everything in between. And I think that is exactly what women need to hear in order to give them the permission to move forward into the things that scare them the most. So what here's what I want to maybe have you answer. You and I had a conversation a few months ago, and you were coming out of this season of your life where you had accomplished some major life goals. You had published your book, your event was going into year 6 or 7, and I want you to just speak to what that little season was like and what some of the emotions you were feeling coming out of a time that many would look at from the outside and say, wow, like you are just on top of your game right now.
Oh man, this is such a good question. Thank you for all of that. And I have absolutely loved walking this path with you because I feel like we've been on this journey together for so many years, and you've been such a huge support of all that I've done and of my events and volunteered at my events. And you've always just been somebody that I'm so excited to see because I feel like I can take that breather with you. We can like unbutton our pants and eat extra.
We all
that
need
sounds
those
weird.
friends.
Sounds really bizarre. I may get comfortable. Okay, so the space that I was in at that point when we were talking a few months ago was it had hit January 1 and I had basically decided I was going to take some time off. I was like, I just need to clear my calendar. I need to really start saying no to things because I am in a place where I don't know what I want to do next. And this place was really familiar, but it didn't make it any less scary because every time you hit that place of pivoting or confusion or coming off of something big or coming off of not something big, it's a really interesting place to be because it can feel a bit hopeless and it can feel a little lonely, and it can also be super, it's some of the most powerful times that you can ever experience. And for me, the 2 years prior had been spent writing and then marketing a book, along with launching a lot of e-courses, along with doing events, along with having successes and massive failures. And I was noticing that while I was doing all things that I loved, at the same time, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't love. And I was feeling really overwhelmed. I was feeling a bit isolated because you guys, working on your dreams can be really isolating. And it's funny, I was writing a book all about tribe because we write about what we need and we teach what we need the most. And I was just noticing that I was like, I'm not having as much fun as I feel like I should be having. Like, I really do believe that life can be fun and easy if you let it. That's what my friend Lindsey mantra is that I've totally adopted. And I was like, life is not feeling fun and easy lately. Why is that? And so when I hit that spot of just like taking a bunch of time off, I got really like deep into just questioning, like what do I actually enjoy? Like when I'm working, what do I actually enjoy? What brings me energy? Because let me tell you, I was not feeling very energized. I'm like, all right, when do I feel most energetic? When do I have fun? When am I just like, things are flowing and I'm excited and I feel alive and vital and energized? And I was like, wow, it's every time I'm collaborating with someone that I enjoy and it feels easy. So it just so happened that I had, and I also decided at that point, so this is, I don't know if I shared this with you, but this was also the point where I decided I wasn't going to say yes to anything unless it felt fun. So I was like fierce no's to everything. And Mike Zeller, whose mastermind you were in, had asked me to speak at a mastermind. And I was like, do I like speaking at masterminds? I was like, hell yes. I love Q&A. I love being in rooms with people. And I love being of service, especially with really cool people in the room. And if it's for a friend, even better. So I was like, absolutely. I will be there. I can't wait. Give me 2 hours. I cannot wait to do this. So go to this mastermind, and in walks Lindsey. Had no idea she was going to be there. And I talked to you, and the conversation was so fun and easy and light. And you were doing some things that I'm like, we're in the same arena. And so I was like, I'm following the fun and the ease and the lightness right now. But I was still in this like phase of like no and clearing space, and nothing was coming through yet. I don't know if you've ever been there where you're like, okay, any day an idea can come because I'm doing all the right things. Like I'm meditating, I'm exercising, I'm saying no, I'm clearing room. And I'm like, trying to have no expectation around it while I'm going, give me what's next.
Yeah.
Because I'm chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
So funny is I remember that, so you came and you did this amazing Q&A for our mastermind group, and you were just really honest with people about where you were at. And I distinctly remember someone asking you, what's next for you? And you said in the most beautiful, light way, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm just in that season. And lo and behold, neither of us knew that the next inspiration would strike a mere 48 hours later, which we'll get to that in a moment. But I actually want to just stay with this theme of being in the season of waiting, or being in an in-between moment, because honestly, I've had a lot of conversations with women in my world lately who they're planning toward and really working toward big things that are going to take a while to manifest, or you're laying groundwork right now where you don't actually see a lot of the results happening yet. What are some of the things that you do in those seasons to keep yourself inspired, or just to fill your cup? Any rituals? I know you're someone who's just so diligent about rituals and habits, but what do you utilize in those time periods that can easily start to feel a little restless?
There's a couple things that are probably going to happen for you when you're in this time period. And by the way, these are so important. I want to talk about why you can't skip over this. And no matter if you're in a summer season right now where you are just like feeling good, or you're in fall and you're in the harvest and you're collecting, you need a winter. It's so vital. You have to let the ground rest. Like, you have to let your brain rest, your body rest. Some come every 5 years, some come every 6 months for people. But I first want to point out that you might feel restless, but there's so much going on underneath the earth that you don't realize. I always think of this in terms of season. Like, you look out at winter and it feels bleak. It feels hopeless. It feels like summer is never coming. But underneath, it's like everything is getting a rest. Everything is hibernating. Everything is recharging. Everything is getting ready for spring. Everything is getting ready to bloom again. So you don't see it, but it's happening. So in those times, things that I do are to give myself a little more space for things to come in. So I go in nature a lot more. This is so important. Go in the places. Don't just like sit home. That's the worst thing you can do and watch TV, because you're going to like respond to the world. Like, you try to stay off social media as much as possible. Go out and do things that are expanders. So meaning what expands your mind and doesn't make you feel contracted or fearful or lethargic or whatever that is. Like, it's really easy when you're in a space like that to want to go towards those things, but you have to put it in your calendar to go for nature walks, go talk with friends. Like, put it in your calendar to go and talk with people. And if you're like, I'm not in a season of talking to all my business friends, like maybe you have all of these business people, great, talk to somebody else, but go have conversations and go connect. That was one of the biggest, most vital pieces to this period for me, was go make sure you're connecting, because every part of your weirdo introverted self, I wanted to go and hide. And I noticed I just got really funky. Like, I started to think like, maybe I don't like people, or maybe I just don't even want to work with people, because I'm weird like that. Like, if you let me do my own thing, I'll turn into such a weird introvert and make everyone bad. So I was like, go connect. Nature, meditation was huge for me. Visualizing, I just let myself play. Like, I know that you do at your event something called unicorn brainstorming. I kind of let myself play on, Chris and I go for walks every single day. And what I did a lot, you would not believe the ideas I was coming up with, because I was like, I don't know what to do next, man. I am just like so lost. So a game that we started playing all the time was, if money was no issue and you could create whatever you wanted and do or become whatever you wanted, what exactly would it be? And I was coming up with crazy ideas, but amazing. And I was letting them for weeks. I would just keep building on them. Like, it's so funny. I had a few different businesses. I had one that was just like a restaurant that only served brunch. And
I'm in.
Like, oh my God, I know. But I built in like different like events and like different, like I was trying to create a culture around this particular type of restaurant that was an event that only served brunch, like ladies that brunch. And I just played with that for like months, like just for fun. So build that in, play those, like just play those scenarios, but stay in the mode of just things that feel good and feel light.
Mm-hmm. And I think just the point you made about the seasons being so necessary, I just really want this to serve as a inspiration for those who find yourself right now in a season of winter or wherever you currently are, knowing that every single person you look up to goes through those same seasons. They may not share them on social media, and that's probably for a purpose too, because it's really important. If you're to continue serving in the way you all want to serve, there's going to be growth, and then there has to be those seasons of rest. And I found that to be so true for myself too.
Well, one thing I want to add, Lindsay, just totally opened this up for me, was I noticed, I really observed my, like my anxiety and my restlessness, really tried to fill it with more stuff I didn't want to be doing.
Ooh.
Meaning, like, it wasn't that it wasn't like that I didn't want to do it because there were parts of me that did. I was just filling it to fill it with more of the stuff that wasn't making me as happy as I could be, just because I could. I'm like, well, I mean, the ideas that came to me, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I could be productive by maybe I'll write this fitness magazine and try to get back into magazines. What? I'm so over that part of my life right now. Yep. And then I was like, maybe I'll, create another course. And I was like, you don't want to do, what are you doing? Yeah. So let yourself sit in that space if you don't have to like fill it with a ton of stuff at this point. So that was really vital for me to keep saying no to things unless it really felt like it was going to light me up.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. And something I had to learn the hard way was that I can easily fill my plate with things that make me feel like I'm busy or make me feel like I'm productive, but I'm really just busy. And that the best ideas weren't willing to shout over the noise of my life. And that I had to create margin. I had to create some quiet space or just space to not be doing in order to allow those next ideas to come through, which not doing is actually the most uncomfortable thing for me. Like, where is the rest muscle and how do I work it? Rest day doesn't sound fun for me.
Yeah.
That was a big lesson. I think sometimes if your biggest discomfort is getting quiet or sitting still, and you can't deny that you feel restless in this season, like you might be in a season of growth where your next idea is right around the corner. If it feels uncomfortable to get quiet, that's probably exactly what you need to do in whatever way get quiet means for you. Being in nature, doing a different type of workout, switching it up. And that's something I've used a lot as well.
Oh man, switching up the energy for sure. I'm glad you pointed that out. Going to different workouts, hanging out with different people, eating different food, maybe traveling to somewhere, even if you don't feel like traveling. It's really amazing what an energy shakeup will do in that season.
Oh, I just experienced that being in California. You and I will share what we're creating and what we're collaborating on, but I just was craving a change of scenery, different energy, and headed out to California, worked remotely for a week, and it did the trick. It was incredible. So I love that as well. And let's go back to, so you and we met up again at this mastermind that I was a part of. And I realized I was going to be in town with an extra half day to spend. And so we ended up grabbing coffee. And what was so cool about, sitting at the table, we just really acknowledged you had just come off of this season where you were on the rocket ship, you were producing, you were chasing after some huge dreams. And now you were in the season of rest. And I was heading into this ramp up season, and just to sit with each other and acknowledge the different places. And somehow in that, the way I remember it is we were just tossing out ideas, or you were asking what was next for Powerhouse Women. And I was sharing with you how I'm starting to notice how many women feel called to create live events, live experiences. They're feeling that same calling that you and I have felt to create community in person. Because I think what's happening in our world right now, we're more connected than ever with digital media, but people are feeling lonelier than ever. People are craving live in-person connection more than ever before. And so it's no surprise that women, especially, I'm sure men and women, are feeling called to create those type of experiences. And you said to me something to the effect of, I've always thought this could be cool, right? Wouldn't it be cool if that unicorn brainstorming prompt? you said to create some kind of experience that trains people how to do this work. And out of my mouth came the words before I could even logically think about them. I said, well, why don't we do that together? What would that look like to create something like that as a collaboration? And I think we both just sat there sort of shocked and then started to allow it to be fun and easy and just play with, well, what would that look like if we did? And I think it's important to share that piece because initially I think both of us were like, hell no, we don't need something else on our plate right now. But but what was, I guess, tell me what that was like in your mind. Because here I was in a season where I already had a ton on my plate. You were in a season where you were saying no strategically. And yet somehow we both felt like, I think we're supposed to do this. Tell me what that was like from your point of view.
I love this story because I literally can go right back there. I can feel the weather. It was like a cool, damp day. And I'm just like it's so visceral because I remember being like, don't do something that you're going to regret. Don't do something because you're filling your plate. Don't do something. Like that voice was really strong for me. And I was like, but I'm not feeling any heaviness around it, and I'm feeling excitement and lightness. And I had already kind of created this checked box system for me to go through when I'm making decisions. So I was kind of going back to this little system that I'd created since January, and I was like, this covers collaboration. This is someone I would love to work with. It feels really easy. I've always wanted to do this. She has strengths that I don't have, and I have strengths that she doesn't have. And together, we also have some really powerful strengths working together. And I was like, wow, this is really covering. I can see what this would look like. And, my team was so used to doing events that it didn't feel scary to me to talk about. What may have felt scary to you, but it didn't feel scary to me to be like, okay, I know what goes on, like to really, as far as I'm talking about, like having the team in place who could, help us book the hotels and all of those things. So I didn't feel freaked out to be like, okay, an event, great. So I was just like, this all feels really good. And when we kept playing. We were like, okay, well, let's keep playing. Like, let's not take anything off the table. Let's just pretend we're doing this. What does this look like? And that gave so much freedom to get to step into it instead of like doing this weird like tiptoe or like, whatever. We're like, let's just say we're doing it. Let's just throw it all out there and see what it feels like. The playfulness of it just was so inviting, and it actually let us, I think, fully step in and paint the picture. We don't give ourselves permission like that to really go there. So when you can really go there, you can decide, is this for you or not, once you really go there. And we kind of painted the picture and what would that look like and what would the jobs be and what would the content look like and who would show up and where would they come from. And it just was all easy and it was all flowing.
And I love how you pointed to the fact that one of the reasons it worked so well and ended up manifesting into reality, I think, is because we kept even checking in every couple of days. I think those initial voice messages were like, this still feels good for me. Does it still feel good for you? Like, and really left so much space for either one of us to be like, you know what, it isn't the right time, or this doesn't feel aligned in the moment. I think because we created so much space around it, it allowed it to come from pure inspiration and allowed it to, even the initial vision for what we were thinking it might be changed and evolved as we got more into the planning of it. So I guess I'm going to obviously record an intro that shares all about what we're talking about, but we should name it. We should name this baby that we're talking about, which is a 5-day in-person experience that we've created for all of you. It's called Event Luv, L-U-V, because it's cooler spelled that way. And I want to hear you just share it in such a powerful way, the heart and the intent behind this. So share with me, who is this experience really for?
Okay, I get goosebumps thinking about all of the people that are going to be in the room, but these are the people who know in their heart they are meant to speak and lead and teach. These are the people who are reading the self-development books and they literally cannot wait to do a post about it or do a live, or are we talking about us right now? Or who, want to do stories about it. These are the people who know they have so much to say and so much to share, but don't know how to do it. These are the people who know, when they go and see people speak or when they're at an event, they absolutely know that they are supposed to be on that stage sharing. They're listening to people thinking, I would have said the exact same thing, or I would have said it this way, or you're sitting in the audience thinking, but what about this? People really need to hear this. These are the future leaders who are hearing the call right now. This is for people who, even if you feel nervous, even if you're shaking, even if you don't know how to get that message out there, but you know that you want to facilitate massive transformation in people's lives, this is absolutely for you.
And you're basically describing both of us a few years ago, which is we just put ourselves as our own inspiration. But I bet those of you listening that this is starting to resonate, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to create some kind of a live experience that mimics the things that have been most impactful in your own journey. And I just need you to know that is exactly how Lori and I both started doing the work that we are doing. We were on our own journey. And then at some point we felt so called to turn, almost like we're going in one trajectory. We felt the need to like just pivot and look at all these beautiful souls coming along the journey with us, maybe a step or two behind where we were at, and to say, you guys, you won't believe what I learned. You need to know this. Here's what's coming. Here's what's right up ahead. Because that's the truth. We're all on our own version of this exact same journey. No one else has something figured out that you don't, other than they might just be a step or two further ahead. They've gotten more uncomfortable. They've done more failing forward and failing faster than you've done. And that's the only secret.
Oh my God. I have to share, like, I'm getting so many visuals right now because, this is for anyone who, even if you are a yoga teacher, if you are a fitness person, if you are, somebody who works for a large corporation who is a coordinator of different events there. This is so important to know that you have the opportunity to create experiences, workshops, and retreats. Like, whether you're doing a big event or whether you're doing small masterminds, group work, like I said, retreats and workshops, this is literally going to be the new model for so many places. It already is, because connection is truly where the transformation is happening. And it's vital for our survival. And I think we're getting back to that because social media has, separated us so much. And if you guys haven't read my book, it's literally about how tribe and connection and facilitation like this is like not having a socialization or connection in your life is actually terrible for your health. They're saying that if you don't have strong social circles, it's actually worse than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. This is now proven. So this is going to be a new model for so many people and so many different businesses, that you can create anything that you want. You don't have to want to be someone who puts on huge events. This can be, like I said, for people who maybe already have small businesses, that they can add an extension to their business, or they want to be able to add things to what they already have going on, or maybe they want this as their main thing.
Yeah. And I think that was the fun part. Again, just keeping so much fun and ease around it as we started to put together the content. I remember we sat at my house that weekend in July, and we looked at each other. We were like, oh my goodness. Once we had mapped out all the content, we had these giant sheets of paper out, and we just started to see the possibility for so many of you who are going to create events that Lori and I will never create. We're called to create the ones that we feel led to create. You're going to feel called to create something in your own way, even if it's similar. And people there's going to be people who need to hear the message from you. So it could be an event like a live experience, like the Powerhouse Women event or the Bliss Project that Lori does, but it could be smaller, more intimate gatherings. You still need to know all of the fundamentals of facilitation and really how to create the emotional journey of that experience to give people the results you want to deliver. And then also, and this is the piece I want to speak to next, how to make that a viable business and a profitable one. Like, we're not going to shy away from talking about how to help you make this abundant so that it can keep supporting you in sharing your message. Do you want to talk a little bit to the importance of that piece?
Oh my gosh, yes. You guys, so what's been happening to Chris and I, because we also do masterminds, is we have a lot of people who have been reaching out to us like 2 weeks before their event. And they're like, oh my God, I have this event and it's not filling. I have 100 or 200 tickets left. And we're like, okay, well, have you ever done an event before? What did you expect? What is your plan for selling when you're there? Okay, did you work backwards, and did you figure out exactly what you needed to make or what you wanted to make? Okay, did you quiz your audience to see if events were something they'd want to do? And they're all like, no. Like, oh
Never
my
thought
gosh.
of that.
You guys, there's a plan behind events. You literally work backwards. So you work with what do you need and desire and want to profit in mind. How are you going to price your event? What are you going to sell at your event? And this is so important. Sales are an act of love, and so is your event. This is so powerful to know, because I don't care who you are. If you're someone who's accomplished anything, I want you to look back at the journey of who has pushed you into it. And, who's given you that loving nudge, or who's been like, get off your ass and do something. It's been the most loving thing that's probably ever happened to you, is somebody forcing you into your higher self. And we need coaches, we need mentors, and we need people to sell us. People may not want to be sold, but people want to buy. And you have to remember that. So you're going to learn the art of being able to sell to people exactly what they're needing for their next step. You have the answer. And this is what people forget, is it's an act of love, because you have the answer that they are missing, that they will not get without you. So you need to learn how to do that. And that's also what we're going to teach you, and how to work backwards, and how to figure out what your first event should look like, and how the event flow should be. What is your marketing strategy going to be? Are you going to have that all planned out? This is really, really huge, because so many people just throw this event up and have no clue what they're doing, and they wait till it's too late, and then they lose money on their event.
Yeah. And it's happening more and more, but I also think that what I see for this event is it's a way to shorten that learning curve. Because I learned a lot of that the hard way. I think through some of the other business experience and network marketing and learning to sell, that helped. But truly, it's taken 3 years, 2.5, 3 years to get to the point where this is now it's a viable business. Now, 3 years isn't that long, but what if we can help you do that within these 5 days and actually avoid some of the pitfalls? I mean, what I'm most excited for is just for people to get to literally ask us any question. There's nothing that's off the table. There's nothing we won't share with you about what our journeys have looked like, what our businesses look like, and some of the mistakes that we've made to help you avoid them. Because you stepping into your purpose.
Oh my gosh.
We need it.
And it's something that I want, if you're ruling yourself out because you're like, maybe I don't want to do big events, or I'm not sure about big retreats. Like, you guys, I started so small. Here's what you're forgetting. Here's a bunch of business models and things that we coach people on. It's not that you need 100 people or 200 people, 300, or even 50. Some people have business models where every 3 months they're getting 4 people, or every 5 months they're getting, 5 people to come to a weekend retreat at a higher amount, where you create just an experience and you facilitate through something. And here's the thing, if you're like, I don't know what I teach, I don't know what I'd say, we're going to teach you how to teach meditation. We're going to teach you how to facilitate. We're going to teach you what an experience could look like. Maybe it's something you could set up with the hotel. Maybe it's something around food. Maybe it's something around you just book their spa days, and then you book some free time, and you book journaling, and you guide them. People are craving experiences, and they're not going to do it for themselves, and they're craving like-minded people. So if you put your energy towards being the person who's sending out the signal and attracting them, people will pay for that. I do nonstop. I pay nonstop for someone else to put their energy towards gathering the right people. And then I just want to show up and pay for the experience.
Yeah.
So powerful.
I actually want to talk a little bit about that, because this was something that completely shifted my whole world this past year. And I remember feeling let me just even get present to that time period. It was early in 2018. I was heading into year 2 of Powerhouse Women, and there was something in me that was saying, okay, I think this is a thing. People keep wanting to show up for this. Am I going to show up for this? And I could tell that I was the only thing in the way of this becoming what it could be and serving on the level that it could serve. This was before I ever imagined having this podcast. It was when I was still even just kind of questioning, am I the one? And so if you find yourself right now questioning, just know that that's normal. When you're feeling stretched to step into something bigger, it's going to feel sometimes like physical discomfort, like you're being stretched. And I knew myself well enough to know 2 things. Number one, in historically speaking, I am not going to throw myself off the cliff of discomfort without having some kind of massive accountability. And I knew I was feeling stretched to invest in myself and basically in doing so, declare that I'm worth it and declare that this idea is worth it in a bigger way than I ever had. And the way that ended up showing up in my world was I was open. I was kind of searching for the right opportunity, and a business mastermind, the one you're mentioning, came across my radar. And maybe you're feeling this way listening to our conversation. It just felt like something in me went, ooh. It was more like a than an ooh, because it felt uncomfortable. It felt uncomfortable to invest that much financially. It felt uncomfortable to put myself in a room with people who, in my mind, I was perceiving as all these other people have figured it out and I haven't. But that is the only way that we grow. And I know you and Chris, your husband, have invested a lot in coaches, masterminds as well. And I want to hear about that in a moment. I'm just going to finish that thought though. So I just now finished a full year of this mastermind. And you guys, I don't have words to describe the shift within me. If you know me personally, you've had a front seat and you've watched it. I'm a different human being than the woman who, with shaking hands, hit submit and said yes, and then almost went and threw up because I was so uncomfortable committing to an experience like that. And it rocked my world. And it wasn't so much that it's never the coach or the teacher. They provide the space. It was me showing up for myself in a way that I hadn't before.
Yes. There's no way to create that on your own. Literally, there's no way to create that on your own. That's literally why we do masterminds, why we've always been a part of one. And I remember like the first type of thing that I did like that was 2 years before my first Bliss. No, sorry, a year before my first Bliss. And I got an email from Jack Canfield, not like him personally, just his like his sales emails. And it was like, join my Train the Trainer group. And it was like saying all of these things that I wanted to do. It was like, learn to powerfully speak, learn to facilitate, be in a room with other trainers, like learn how to book speaking, it didn't teach like sales, but it taught how to be a powerful facilitator and all of these different things that you would learn. And I was freaking out because I knew that I wanted to have an event. I knew that I wanted to be, a Gabby Bernstein or a Marie Forleo or a powerful speaker or author or whatever it was. And I knew that this was the first step. So I'm reading this sales copy and I'm salivating. I'm like wigging out because I'm like, I need this. I don't know how to do this on my own. Yeah. And, I didn't know people who were doing what I was doing. And I had so much anxiety. I had massive panic attacks still. I was really struggling with speaking. I was speaking once in a while, but I just did not feel confident. Like I would speak, but I couldn't find what my message was. And I couldn't be present enough while I was speaking in order to get the message out that I wanted because I was too nervous the whole time. And I just thought, I'm never going to be who I want to be if I don't start getting a mentor or someone to help me. And so I was scrolling down and I get to the bottom and it says the price. And I'm like, oh God, there it goes. Like I won't be able to do this. It's $25,000. And I had not spent more than probably a few $1,000s at that point ever on anything like that. And so to me, I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be like, Chris will never let me do this. And I was out on a walk because it had come to my phone. And I was like, that's it. Like, no matter what, I am going to say, we're going to put this on a credit card. And by doing that, that's going to be so much responsibility for me to follow through that I can't fail. Like, I can't let myself not become something and let my husband down and lose all of this money. If I don't, I need to, this will force me to show up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I committed. I told Chris, he was like, you're insane. I was like, I have to do it. I know it. I know it in my soul. I feel it in my gut. It's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm not going to be able to move forward without it. So
yeah,
I did it. I did the 3 weeks. It was life-changing. I had Bliss Project right after the last week. And it changed everything for me. It helped me facilitate. It helped me understand how to control the audience. It helped me understand everything I needed to do. I felt so powerful. I felt so in control. I was totally ready. Besides being I was still really nervous, obviously. I still doubted myself. I still thought I'm a psycho for doing this, but I knew what I was doing. And that helped me feel confident in what I was doing. And I want to just play off kind of what you said earlier. There's not a Bliss Project that goes by or that comes where, you know, the couple weeks before or the month before, I'm like, why do I do this? This is really challenging. I'm scared. I'm freaking out. Like, and it comes and it goes. And I know that comes with when my next level and my higher self is like trying to bust through.
So true. And, I want to be responsible for those of you listening. You may not be at the point yet where you're ready to throw yourself off that cliff of discomfort and make a huge financial investment. I think it was one of your recent podcasts I was listening to where you said, this is not for you if you know you're just going to put something on a credit card and then take no new action. We would never, ever, ever in a million years tell you to do that. Invest in our program or anyone else's.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really know, and that's something only you will know. Are you actually willing to give up who you've been in the pursuit of who you can become? And when you know that you're ready to do that, then making a big investment either in a coach or a program or a training can be really soul shifting, and it'll bring up resistance as well. But for those of you listening, you'll know whether or not you're at that point to be in a position to make that kind of investment. And for those of you who aren't, keep digging into the free information available on podcasts, on books. There's so much available until you get to the point in your growth where you're like, you know what? I think I'm ready for someone to help me light a fire under myself. And that was the point that I got to early last year, where I had already been doing I was doing the work, and I could have continued going along at that same pace and probably have had incremental success. No doubt. I was on the way. But I also knew that investing in spending time around those who had done it and who had gone where I want to go could help me just get there faster.
Oh God, it's the most important. It's an absolute accelerator. And like she said, if you're listening to this, you just know. There's actually no question. Like it's a very I got to figure out a way.
Yeah.
And that's the wording that will come up in your head is I have to figure out a way. If you know that you're ready to deal with the pain that comes with taking massive action and leaving yourself behind, like leaving your old identity behind. And it's always like a full body yes for me. So if you're feeling a full body yes, that's how you know. If you're not, then no, you need to just keep consuming all of this information, and it will shift for you. So have faith in that. But yeah, I think that, it's crazy how you and I have felt a call to do this. We have no idea. This is literally just we have an idea because we're feeling a call and we're answering it. But we haven't had people be like, yes, create this for me. We were like, this needs to happen. So we're in another place of faith right now. You and I are, which is so cool.
Yeah. We were acknowledging that just as we were doing a little planning before hopping on the podcast, is that I want you all to know we're in this journey with you. We've got some additional tools and resources and a team that we've built over the last few years. We've got the confidence from having done it, but we're putting ourselves in this fun place of we don't really know how this is going to come together fully, but we feel so 100% called to create this experience that there's no way it can fail. It's bound to exceed our expectations and surprise and delight us in some way. We're just not sure how it's going to look. But I want to speak as we kind of start to wrap this up and tell people where they can register, where they can learn more. I actually want to touch on the part of this that is so different and that I'm probably the most excited about, which is the fact that we're creating this experience to be immersive, very hands-on, experiential. So you're not just going to sit and take notes. You're going to get to step in and out of the role of event facilitator and trainer. And it's going to be a different kind of experience than anything you could learn reading books, listening to podcasts, or even going to other events. I don't know of anything else that approaches this kind of learning in this kind of way. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, this is the only way that we do learn, right?
Yeah.
So what's the beautiful quote? It just is basically, when we see, oh, help me, Linz.
Oh gosh, we've been talking for 20 hours today. Yes.
Basically, the only way to understand is when you actually get to do it. So that's the most important thing, is to not just see it and hear it, because you forget what you see and you hear. But when you actually do is when it gets into your bones and you understand it and you create the reference point for the rest of your life. So you're creating a reference point of confidence for when you go and do this. So what we are going to be doing in the room is giving you the opportunities to facilitate exercises. What we're going to be doing is actually putting you through the exercises, talking about them, what did you experience, and then breaking you off into groups where you will also be facilitating, getting you on stage to feel what it feels like to be speaking, sharing your story, sharing in front of people, running meditations, running visualizations, like understanding what that would feel like and what that looks like, and how does, getting feedback on how you did in the most loving way. This is going to be the most loving room you can possibly imagine. Your heart's going to be beating fast. You're not going to want to do it. And then you are going to be completely transformed, because by the time this week is over, you will have been in the shoes of exactly what you want to be doing so many times that you're going to be ready and excited, and you're going to know how amazing you are, and why the call came to you is because you were meant for it, because you are good at it and you are experiencing it firsthand.
Yeah, I cannot wait to watch that play out. I get chills thinking about how impactful it's going to be, both for those of you who know exactly what kind of event you're being called to create, or maybe you have an event already, you just want to take it to a new level. But those of you who are still in the, I don't know, is it an event? Is it a course? Is it a program? I just am feeling really called to be a part of this conversation. There's going to be so much for you to gain from the experience as well. And I really want you to know, even if you're not clear on exactly what you want to create coming out of this, you might be feeling called to be a part of it because the inspiration that you need to take that next step is in that room, or it's in a conversation you're going to have with one of the participants. You just really never know. And again, I think it goes back to what you were saying. If it feels like a full body yes, then there's something there.
This is, I can't help but think about just all of the people that this could benefit, because even if you want to create courses, or you have a social media presence, or you have a podcast, this is about confidence and knowing what your capabilities are. And there's nothing like being able to add meditations to your e-course. There's nothing like being able to know what the flow of your content should look like. There's nothing like being able to know what the actual experience in these different rooms and what these people are having is. And that's what's going to happen in the room, is we're going to go through an exercise, and then we're going to get feedback on what everybody's experience is, so that you understand what's going on when you put people through different exercises, whether it's in your course or whether it's at an event. You need to know feedback. It's so powerful. And that's exactly what the room will be. It'll be experience, feedback, experience, feedback. And I don't know about you, Linz. Actually, I do know, because the feedback loop has been the most powerful thing that I've ever learned from. That's why our events are amazing, is because we know what's the experience is going on, how many different experiences at once are happening in the room that we're aware of.
It's so true. I cannot wait to spend these 5 days with all of you. Those of you who are feeling, maybe you paused this because you were just like, I just need to go to the website right now. If that's you, I love you. And we just want you to know that we firmly believe that those of you in this room are the next generation of women leading this work. And we cannot do all of the events, Lori and I. If you have ever thought for a moment, yeah, but someone else is doing a similar event, yet you feel called to create it, this is your sign that your event is needed. There is someone out there right now who is waiting for you to step into your bigger purpose because they need to hear it from you. And that was the hardest thing for me to believe. I remember crying my way through a year of writing the book Powerhouse Woman because I just kept questioning, well, why me? Why would anyone want to listen to me? But the truth is that all of you have shown up in droves and answered that question because you just need to know you're not alone in doing this. And so we're going to create that kind of experience. And at the end of these 5 days, you will be certified. And it'll become what we see as the gold star certification for creating transformational and profitable events that are also heart-centered. Because I think that's what people are craving more than ever now. And we need an army of people willing to step up and do that work with us.
Amen. I literally can't wait.
Okay, well, we should tell them where to find out about it and how to get their questions answered, all of the things. So where's the best place for people to go?
So you guys can go to eventluv.com and you can check out, first, I literally want you guys to read all the copy there if you're into it, because truly we have poured our hearts out exactly what's going to happen in the room and our stories. So definitely go through that. If you still have questions, you can absolutely book a call with us, a 15-minute call at the link that is on there. So eventluv.com.
Yep. And then I think I already mentioned it is 5 days in person with us. So if you've listened to us for this long and you think I could handle 5 more days with them, this may be you. And it's taking place in October. So by the time you're listening to this episode, there's actually only a few weeks to secure your spot. We were feeling so called to create this. It was literally bursting out of our souls. We didn't want to wait. And we know you don't want to wait. This is going to set you up to have the most transformational year in the coming year, 2020. And especially if you plan to host retreats, masterminds, if you want to accelerate your impact and your income in 2020, you're going to just need to be in that room. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So when you hear this episode, you don't want to wait because there's only going to be a few weeks left until the event is here. It's happening. So it's happening in Phoenix, Arizona. We just booked the most beautiful venue for it. I'm so freaking excited for this. So it's taking place in Phoenix. The dates are October 8th through the 12th. It is beautiful in Phoenix, Arizona in the fall. And it's going to be 5 days full of so much growth and connection and transformation. We can hardly wait.
Oh yeah. I just want to say this hotel is stunning. Like you will be like spoiled 5-star. It's amazing.
We might just move in there. I don't know. We're talking. So I want to really turn it over to you as we wrap up here. I love to end our episodes with just a reminder from your heart for the women listening, for those who are feeling called to step into their next big idea. And you know, the theme around here is really twofold. Number one, that we're not meant to do this alone. But number two, that each of us are created with a purpose and are designed for something great. So what is right there on your heart as we wrap up this conversation to encourage and inspire our listeners with if they are starting to feel that call on their heart and on their life?
I have a belief that has never let me down. And that belief is that if I follow an idea or call that I'm getting and I can see it, I will not fail because my creator, or whatever you believe, the universe, will not let me fail. So even if it is not what I think is a success, it is the one step to get me to the next vision. So that's been something that has always proven true. So if you are getting called, pick the vision. Like honestly, if you have 5 visions, all of them are correct, but you have to pick one and focus on it. And this is 1,000,000% been true for me. Pick the vision and focus on it. It's yours. Go for it. Don't question it. Full-time faith. And it will absolutely be the exact thing that you needed to either, unlock the next thing or just experience what it feels like to be your highest self and live in your full potential. And that's what life is all about.
I love that so much. Lori, thanks for being here.
I'm so grateful for you. I'm so excited. Like, I'm giddy to do this with you.
It's going to be so much fun. Okay, real quick before we wrap this up, if you are listening to this conversation and everything in you is screaming, this is for me. If you know that Event Luv is the exact thing that you've been missing in order to make the big leap into your dreams, then we have something super special just for you. If you register for Event Luv by September 30th, you are not only going to save $1,000 off your registration, you're going to get a free ticket to Powerhouse Women 2020, our annual event, as well as a ticket to Lori Harder's Bliss Project event in March. You guys, this is over $2,500 in value, and we really want those of you who know this is for you to be rewarded for stepping into action, because that honestly is the scariest part, is saying yes and taking the leap. So if you know you're ready to step into your purpose, we cannot wait to work with you live and in person in January. And you're just going to want to go to eventluv.com. That's Event Luv spelled Luv. And I'm going to link all of this in the show notes for you. But we cannot wait to work with those of you who are ready, because the world is ready for your message. Can't wait to see you soon.